धीमहि यो यो नमः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नमः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
Shri Rama tuhi, Shri Krishna tuhi, Shri Rama Krishna hare hare. Shri Rama tuhi, Shri Krishna tuhi, Shri Rama Krishna hare hare. Shri Rama tuhi, Shri Krishna tuhi, Shri Rama Krishna hare hare. Shri Rama tuhi, Shri Krishna tuhi, Shri Rama Krishna hare hare. Hari Om, 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 Hari शारदा माता हरे हरे. काली तुही, श्री दुर्गा तुही, श्री शारदा माता हरे हरे. श्री काली तुही, श्री दुर्गा तुही, श्री शारदा माता हरे हरे. तुही नरेंद्र तुही स्वामी विवेकानंद हरे हरे. भोलानाथ तुही नरेंद्र तुही स्वामी विवेकानंद हरे हरे. भोलानाथ तुही नरेंद्र तुही स्वामी विवेकानंद हरे हरे. शिवा ओम
क्षेत्र तुही स्वामी विवेकानंदा हरे हरे सियावर रामचंद्र की जय।
प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम। प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम। प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेके राम नाम, पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेके राम नाम। भव समुद्र सुखद नाव, भव समुद्र सुखद नाव, एक राम नाम। प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम। सतत जपत दिव्य राम नाम, काशी मरत मुक्त करत कहत राम नाम। माता पिता बंधु सखा सब ही राम नाम, माता पिता बंधु सखा सब ही राम नाम। श्री राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम, माता पिता बंधु सखा सब ही राम नाम। भक्त जन जीवन धन एक राम नाम, प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम नाम राम। श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम, प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम। श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम, प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम।
ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय। श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। राम हरे रघुराम हरे, राम हरे रघुराम हरे, राम हरे रघुराम हरे, राम हरे रघुराम हरे। श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय राम 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 राम, श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय राम 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 राम। राम हरे रघुराम हरे, राम हरे रघुराम हरे, रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। राम हरे रघुराम हरे, राम हरे रघुराम हरे। जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम, जय रघुनंदन राम राम राम। जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम, जय रघुनंदन राम राम राम। राम हरे रघुराम हरे, राम हरे रघुराम हरे। रघुनंदन राम राम राम। भगवान श्री राम कृष्ण जय जय राम। भगवान श्री राम कृष्ण राम राम राम। भगवान श्री राम कृष्ण जय जय राम। भगवान श्री राम कृष्ण राम राम राम। भगवान श्री राम कृष्ण जय जय राम। भगवान श्री राम कृष्ण राम राम राम। राम हरे रघु राम हरे राम हरे रघु राम हरे। ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय। श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय।
ॐ ऐं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। Revered Ishtaprana Mataji, respected elders, sisters, brothers and loving children, Om Namo Narayanaya. Shri Ram is often considered the ideal man and Mother Sita the ideal woman. Both Shri Ram and Mother Sita, being the epitome of Dharma, are admired and worshipped by Hindus around the world. In Valmiki Ji's Ramayana, we see glimpses of the divine relationship, which is an inspiration to all of us. While staying with sage Vishwamitra, the young Ram and Lakshman once journeyed to Mithila, the capital of the famous king and philosopher Janaka. King Janaka narrated to them how his ancestors had received a great bow from Lord Shiva and how it was handed down from father to son in the royal family. King Janaka related, "Once, while ploughing the field, I saw a lovely baby girl spring up from the ground like a goddess. I took her home and brought her up as my own daughter and gave her the name Sita. She was born not of the flesh, but of the spirit. Therefore I resolved that she should be given in marriage only to a hero of spiritual prowess. The sacred bow of Shiva could be lifted and used only through the strength of the spirit and not through the strength of the arm. So I proclaimed that any prince who could wield it would gain the hand of my immaculate daughter. Many a prince has come to my court and tried, but all were met with bitter disappointment. Let Ram, the son of Dasharatha, try if he wants to." The bow was brought out by a band of men. Shri Ram then modestly stepped up and with the permission of King Janaka and Vishwamitra lifted the bow. The crowds of people that had assembled could scarcely believe their eyes. The prince now put forth his spirit and pulled the string. The famous bow snapped in two. The people were stunned and Janaka cried, "I see the wonderful might of the Prince of Ayodhya. My daughter Sita will be blessed in having such a prince for her husband." For 12 years, the young prince and his princess lived a happy life in their palace in Ayodhya. A date was set for the coronation of Sri Ram. The preparations were being made and all were rejoicing in anticipation for the happy event. Unfortunately, the mind of Queen Keke was poisoned by her servant Manthara, and she thus requested two terrible boons of King Dasharatha. First, her son Bharat must be crowned king, and second, Ram must be banished to live in the forest for 14 years. King Dasharatha was completely distraught on hearing this request. He tried everything to change Queen Keke's mind, but she was adamant and did not listen. On the morning of the coronation, when Shri Ram was informed that he must go to the forest, he immediately agreed. Shri Ram understood that he must fulfill Queen Keike's wishes in order to protect the honor of his father. As Sri Ram returned to his palace, he wondered how he would share this painful news with Sita, who was preparing for the coronation. He had thought that Sita would weep and wail at the sudden change of their fortunes, and that his most painful task would be parting from his dear wife. As soon as Sita saw Sri Ram, she knew that something had gone wrong. Sri Ram replied to all her eager questions and informed her of Mother Keike's boons and his wishes to carry them out. He urged her to be obedient to Bharat when he became king, and to be dutiful to her old father-in-law and mother-in-law in his absence. He had decided to leave Ayodhya that very day. For 14 years, his abode would be the deep forests, and her duty would be to remain in Ayodhya to serve the family. Sita listened patiently, and though pained at heart, she quietly said, "The king's command that you should go to the forest applies to me as well as to you. I am the daughter of Janaka, and I know my duties as a wife. I have been well tutored by my parents. I must be by your side, wherever you are. There is no doubt about that. I would not care to be even in heaven without you." Sri Ram was a little startled and said, "I know that you come from a noble family, and that you are well versed in Dharma, but you are not aware, my dear, of life in the forest. There, even during broad daylight, lions, tigers, and other beasts of prey roam freely. The nights will be dark and full of dreadful noises. Scorpions, wasps, red ants, and other poisonous insects are everywhere and will make your life miserable. You will have to live on roots and wild berries and sleep on beds of fallen leaves. You will have to cross rivers full of crocodiles and snakes. You will have to make your way through bushes full of thorns. All these will be extremely difficult, especially for you, a princess so delicately brought up. So you must give up this idea of accompanying me to the forest." Sita, with her eyes full of tears, now replied, "These are no terrors for me. I am not going to the forest alone. My husband will be there to protect me. What have I to fear in your company, O Prince? Your very presence will scare away lions and tigers, and if wild berries and fallen leaves are no discomfort to you, they are no discomfort to me. I promise that I will not be a burden to you. If you allow me, I will even go in front of you, treading on the sharp grass, so that you may comfortably follow in my footsteps. No, I am not afraid of forest life." Sri Ram attempted to dissuade her again, explaining that his mother Kaushalya also desired to accompany him. He had persuaded her to remain in Ayodhya and hoped that Sita too would listen to reason and do the same. But Sita replied, "If it is your mother's first duty to look after her husband, is it not my duty too to be with my husband? My dear Lord, you cannot convince me to stay away from you. Is it not stated in our scriptures that when a woman is given away in marriage by her parents, she is his and he is hers for all times, and that they should lead one life in joy and in sorrow and never part from each other? Oh, my dear husband, even for a moment I can't bear to think that you will be in the forest while I remain here in a palace. My heart is a temple, and you are the God I worship there." Sri Ram realized that Sita was firm in her resolve. He smiled and said, "Together we go to the forests, and none shall part us." As they were leaving, the woman of the palace exclaimed, "O Ram, your father's command applies to you only and not to Sita. Please leave her behind. We will take care of her in your absence. The young princess should not lead an ascetic's life in the forest." Even the family priest, Sage Vasishta, said that Sita should not go to the forest. This, however, did not change her resolve. Reassuring Mother Kaushalya, Sita said, "Have no fears, my mother. I assure you that as the sunlight never leaves the sun, I will never leave the wifely dharma that I have been taught." Lakshman, the devoted brother, also accompanied Sri Ram and Mother Sita to the forest, leaving the family and people of Ayodhya in despair. This incident reveals Sri Ram's love for Sita, as he dreaded the thought of leaving her, and did not want to see her face the hardships of the forest. Mother Sita could not bear the thought of being separated from Sri Ram, and knew her duties towards him. She could have easily decided to live in the comfort of the palace, and none would have judged her. But instead, she happily chose to face the hardships of the forest to fulfill her duties. We see a similar incident in the life of the Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi and Sri Ramakrishna. When Shardama was living in Jairambati, she heard rumors that her husband Sri Ramakrishna was mad. Sri Ramakrishna was in Dakshineshwar and passed his days in spiritual ecstasy, which people misinterpreted as madness. Instead of avoiding this difficult situation, Shardama felt that if her husband were truly mad, it was her duty to be by his side and take care of him. Thus we see the great love and duty that Shardama had for the master, regardless of the hardships involved. During her long journey to Dakshineshwar, Shardama became very ill. However, she was relieved to see how the master treated her with great affection, tending to all her needs as she recovered. While in the forest, Sri Ram, Sita and Lakshmana had many wonderful experiences. They loved being with nature and admired the beautiful, colorful flowers, the cool rivers and the tall mountains. They built a hut at Chitrakoot, not far from the river. Sri Ram would take Sita out every morning and show her the beautiful spots around the hill. He would climb the tree and pluck ripe fruit for her, or he would hold down the branches for her to pick berries. Sita was particularly fond of flowers, of which there were endless varieties. On warm days, they would bathe in the cool river at the foot of the hill. However, as they proceeded, they encountered many dangers. They visited many ashramas, spending a few months at each, and offered the holy men protection from the terrible Rakshasas. Finally, they arrived at the beautiful Panchavati, where they planned to stay for the rest of their exile. This is where the cunning Rakshasa, King Ravana, abducted Sita and took her to Lanka. Having lost his beloved wife, Sri Ram cried in agony, "O Lakshman, she is gone, she who has been making all our hardships seem so light with her fun and frolic. Had it not been for her courage and cheerfulness, we could not have endured this forest life of the past 13 years. Poor Sita faced hell in Lanka. King Ravana tried to tempt her to become his queen. He offered her all the wealth and luxuries of his kingdom, and when that did not work, he threatened to kill her and eat her up. The Rakshasis that guarded her continuously pestered her to accept Ravana as her husband. Sita was in much pain and fear, but she remained strong and courageous. She resisted all of Ravana's persuasions and rebuked him for his evil ways. She boldly declared, "I belong to my husband, Prince of Ayodhya. I am his and his alone, and no power on earth can separate us who are one in mind and spirit." As she bravely endured these tormenting conditions, her only refuge was her faith that Sri Ram would come to her rescue. Thus she repeated his name like a saving mantra. Sita finally received some joy when Hanumanji arrived and informed her that Sri Ram and Lakshmana would definitely come to her rescue. Hanumanji comforted her, saying, "Believe me, O princess, your husband is pining for you as much as you are for him. He finds no pleasure in anything. He eats but little. He calls your name and is preoccupied with your thoughts. Who can understand his predicament?" Shri Ram then overcomes innumerable difficult challenges to reach Lanka and defeat King Ravana and his Rakshasa army to rescue his beloved wife Sita. Sita's absolute faith and trust in Shri Ram teaches us that we should pray to God and rely on Him during our toughest times, and He will surely come to our rescue. The selfless love and sacrifice of these two divine companions is an inspiration to all of us. It is a reminder of the commitment required towards our dharmic duties, not only between husband and wife, but also to our parents, siblings, relations, and ultimately to all living beings. May Shri Ram and Mother Sita bless us with the immaculate qualities of forbearance, love, and courage. Jai Shri Ram.
Nanyaspriha Raghupate Hridaye Asmadiye Satyam Padami Cha Bhavan Akhilantaratma Bhaktim Prayacha Raghupungava Nidharame Kamadidosharahitam Gurumanasam cha Om Shri Sita Lakshmana Bharata Shatrugna Hanuman Sameta Shri Ramachandra Parabrahmane Namah.
Rāmāyudha ankita grha sobhā barani nava tulasika brnda taha dekhi harasha kabirayi Shri Syavar Ramachandra ki jai. Deen Dayal, Deen Dayal, Deen Dayal, Hari Deen Dayal, Deen Dayal, Deen Dayal, Deen Dayal, Hari Deen Dayal. Lanka Nisichar Nikar Nivasa इहा कहा सज्जन कर बासा मन महुतर करई कपिलागा तेहि समय विभीषण जागा राम राम तेहि सुमिरन कीना हृदय हर्ष कपि सज्जन जीना एहि सनहति करि हो परिचाली साधु ते होई न कारज हानि दीन दयाल दीन दयाल दीन दयाल हरि दीन दयाल विप्र रूप धरि वचन सुनाए सुनत विभीषण उचित आए करि प्रणाम पूछी कुशलाए विप्र कहु निज कथा बुझाए कि तुम हरिदासन मह कोई मोरे हृदय प्रीति अति होई कि तुम राम दीन अनुरागी आयहु मोहि करन बड़ भागी दीन दयाल सागर सुमिरी गुण राम। श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। सुनहु पवन सुत रहनि हमारी, जिमि दसन हिमहु जीव बिचारी। तात कबहु मोहि जानि अनाथ, करिहहि कृपा भानुकुलनाथा। तामस तनु कछु साधन नाही, प्रीति न पद सरोज मन माही। अब मोहि भावो हनुमंता, बिनु हरि कृपा मिलहि नहीं संता। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। जो रघुवीर अनुग्रह कीना, तो तुम मोहि दसहु हति दीना। सुनहु विभीषण प्रभु रीति, करहि सदा सेवक पर प्रीति। कहु कवन में परम कुलीना, कपि चंचल सबहि विधिहीना। त्राट लेहि जो नाम हमारा, तेहि दिन त्राहि न मिले आहारा। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम।
असमे अधम सखा सुनो, मोहु पर
रघुबीर। कीन्हि कृपा सुमिरि गुना, हरे बिलोचन नीर। श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम। 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 जानत हूँ अस स्वामी विसारी, फिरहिते काहे न हो बुखारी। एहि विधि कहत राम गुण रामा, पावा अनिल काच विश्रामा। श्री राम जय जय राम। श्री राम जय जय राम। पुण्य सब कथा विभीषण कही, जेहि विधि जनक सुता तह रही। तब हनुमंत कहा सुनो भ्राता, देखि जहु जानकी माता। श्री राम जय जय राम। श्री राम जय जय राम। रघुपति विभीषण सकल सुनाई, चले पवन सुत विदा कराई। करिहु रूप गयो पुनित हवा, बन अशोक सीता रह जहवा। श्री राम जय जय राम। श्री राम जय जय राम। देखि मन हिम कीन्ह प्रणामा,
जामा
कृसतनु शीस जटा एक बेनी जपति हृदय रघुपति गुण श्रेणी श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम 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 निज
पद नयन दिए मन राम पद कमल लीन परम दुखी भा पवन सुत देखि जानकी दीन
श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय।
ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संगत भक्त जनों के संगत क्षण में दूर करे। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे जो ध्यावे फल पावे दुख विनशे मन का स्वामी दुख विनशे मन का सुख संपत्ति घर आवे सुख संपत्ति घर आवे कष्ट मिटे तन का। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण गहूँ किसकी स्वामी शरण गहूँ किसकी तुम बिना और न दूजा तुम बिना और न दूजा आस करो जिसकी। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे तुम पूर्ण परमात्मा तुम अनंतर्यामी स्वामी तुम अनंतर्यामी पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर तुम सबके स्वामी। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे तुम करुणा के सागर तुम पालन करता स्वामी तुम पालन करता मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी कृपा करो भरता। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे तुम हो एक अगोचर सबके प्राणपति स्वामी सबके प्राणपति इस विधि मिलो दया में इस विधि मिलो दया में तुमको मैं कुमति। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे दीन बंधु दुख हरता तुम रक्षक मेरे स्वामी तुम रक्षक मेरे करुणा हस्त बढ़ा हरो देवा श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ संतन की सेवा ओम जय जगदीश हरे
ओम जय जगदीश हरे
स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संकट भक्त जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे ओम जय जगदीश हरे
कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दये भवन् भवानी सहितं नमामि भवन् भवानी सहितं नमामि मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णु मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्ष मङ्गलाय तनो हरि सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते नारायणी नमोस्तुते
Om Namo Narayanaya, dear sisters and brothers. The Ramayana teaches excellent morals to guide us on life's journey. In this world, it is very easy to find fault, but difficult to forbear. One's character reveals one's true strength. One is truly strong when one is forbearing, understanding, and supportive. Those that are virtuous and helpful are a great blessing to humanity. They help to make life peaceful by spreading love and joy. We offer our salutations to Sri Ram and Mother Sita, whose glorious lives remind us that one has to make sacrifices to progress in life. May we be filled with inner strength to overcome life's challenges. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात्
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम तत्सत्। जय श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। महामाई की जय। स्वामी जी महाराज की जय। गंगा मात की जय। महावीर स्वामी जी की जय। सर्व ऋषि मुनियों की जय। पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव की जय। श्री सिया